And Eamon said Germany hasn't a hope, but yet the record, there's something about the sum of the parts for Germany. They mightn't have a Lionel Messi or they mightn't have a Cristiano Ronaldo, but the sum of the parts for Germany always seem to come together once every 4 years for a fantastic run at this World Cup. What is it about Germany and being able to peak for the World Cups?
Well, they've got huge confidence in their own ability, and they had a generation of players who, I don't want to say they managed themselves, but they had the talent, but they also had the mentality. They're multiple, and they still kept going, and that's the sign of top-class players. You've seen, when you go through eras in Barcelona a few years ago, AC Milan in the 90s, they used to win everything, and the next year they kept going again. And you saw that with Spain about 6-8 years ago when they were World Cup winners, European Championship winners. These guys can never get enough. They win it, and it's hard to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay at the top. And these guys just managed to do it. But Germany lost, and I wouldn't say they've got no chance, but I wouldn't back him with Eamon's money. They lost after the World Cup. They lost Lahm and Klose Mertesacker, and then 2 years after the Euros, Schweinsteiger left.
Well, Didi.
So they lost about 450, 500 caps compared to the last World Cup. There's a young, hopeful, interesting, or a good team with some very, very interesting players, the next step. But so far, nobody's really made that step to make a name for himself. And when you haven't got these leaders around you, it's very hard for a younger player to develop. And
so the responsibility falls on Jogi Löw then to get the best out of these players. What's the perception of Löw in Germany?
No, they love him, and I don't think anybody could have done a better job than he did. But at the same time, as I said before, these guys played for Borussia Dortmund, they played for Bayern Munich. These are just winners. And it's very hard to ingrain mentality into players. They either got it or they haven't. You can twist it, but they're either winners or not. And these guys were winners. And they lost quite a few. And the new generation, I'm not sure whether they are, because it's a different generation, all hugely talented. But then you need people to lead them. And Toni Kroos is an outstanding player, and he's won the Champions League now 3 times with Madrid, once with type of guy or the character to lead players. The captain is the goalkeeper, who's got very little influence when the game starts. Then you've got a central pairing at the back with Hummels and Boateng, who are both, one is 29, one is 30 now, who Boateng had a lot of injuries this year. I don't think they're the same players they were 4 years ago. And then people, I think, got a little bit carried away after winning the Confed Cup, after leaving 10 or 11 first-team players out of the team and picking other players. And Germany won it.
Yeah.
Chile didn't even qualify for the World Cup, so that puts it into perspective. Sure. And I think it'll be tough. On top of that, you're defending champion, so everybody wants to knock you off your perch. And a completely different thing, there was a photo about 4 weeks ago with 2 Turkish inheritance players, Özil and Gundogan, which at the moment is a huge thing in Germany. Özil hasn't faced the press since, because they took a photo, a shirt for him to my Prime Minister, or to my President, which didn't go down too well.
But that's understandable, right? That's
100%. And people ask him to not go to the World Cup and to be kicked out of the team. He's still there. And I just think that within the team as well, if you play the first game and Gundogan is probably not in the team, but he's part of the squad. There's a guy in the squad who doesn't see your own Prime Minister as his Prime Minister, but a guy where he is at the moment. He's got booed in the last game before the World Cup. As I said, he faced the press. He said, I apologise, it was wrong. Özil still hasn't faced the press since that happened 4 weeks ago. So there's a lot of uncertainty and
I'm fascinated by this. I'm fascinated by this, I have to say. And to bring it back, I mean, could you imagine, say, Eamon, if Jack Grealish had played for the Republic of Ireland and then did something, and even similarly with Declan Rice at the moment, who hasn't got a competitive cap, but by all accounts is going to play for Ireland. Could you imagine?
Well, there would be, and I mean, what makes it outrageous, as well as the fact that they're German, is that Erdogan, who is the president of Germany, of Turkey, has absolutely clamped down. There's thousands of journalists, teachers, civil servants, academics, all kinds of people, tens of thousands in jail. And he's become a dictator. And so publicly is absolutely way, way, way out of order, no matter what way you look at it.
Should they have been thrown out, Didi? Do you think the players should have been thrown out?
Well, I think in Gundogan's case, I certainly would have thought about it. Yeah. Yes, I would have thought about it. Özil, obviously, he just signed a shirt, and we don't want to really be too picky, but if you sign a shirt to your Prime Minister who isn't, I think it's a lack of respect towards the country you were born. It's a lack of respect towards the people you play with. And when you go into a World Cup, you know, I don't think Germany is good enough as it is going into this World Cup. But unless you've got positivity and the whole nation, because in recent years, the country was unified and united behind the German team. Absolutely. And they said, go there, go to Brazil, go there, we're behind you, and bring the trophy back, we are with you. Now this time round, there's so much negativity because all you read is not about the team, about Neuer coming back from injury after 8 months, which is a big boost for the team. Should they play? Should they not play? Should they be kicked out of the team? So there's a lot of, you know, these days, we played a World Cup 15 years ago, 16 years ago in Japan, and every other day we got a paper. These days, social networks with the phones, you know, a story comes out 2 minutes later, you've got it on your phone, regardless where you are. So, yeah, as I said, there's a lot of negativity around the country at the moment, and I've not got a good feeling at all.
It's interesting. So, it'll just be very interesting to see how Germany respond to that, and without the players that you mentioned who are missing from the squad, experience over the years.